Well, good evening, or morning, or afternoon. Sound like the Truman Show. Whatever applies to you. I know that if you're in Australia, it's morning. If you're on the West Coast, it's still afternoon. But here in Florida, it's evening. It's 8 o'clock, and it's me, Mitch. And how is everybody tonight? Wow, look at all the pre-show activity. And I've been kind of reading along in the chat. I've gotten a kick out of it. Especially those of you trying to figure out whether this was a pre-recorded countdown like most people use. And let me shut off my notifications here. It's not a pre-recorded countdown. It's live, folks. You all know that. It's me. It's me in the studio. Hi. And I do that to make sure everything's working and gives me a chance to get ready. And I play you a little music and give you all a chance to chat away. And I think most people enjoy it because, God, you guys were here early. The chat was filled up before I even got here. Rosie came on at 1:34 to say hello to everybody. Cliff Medina, 3:30. How you doing? Ellen, Scooby the dog was here at 5:30. And Boyd Lamb, and you guys are chatting away and just chatting away. And that's great to see. That's great to see. And Juan came in at 6:14, almost 2 hours early. So how you doing, Juan? How you doing, everybody? Juan is down in Chile, freezing his ass off in the wintertime down in South America. So anyway, good to see y'all. Good to see you all. Well, here it is, Tuesday night. Been a busy day for me. Went for a nice long walk this morning, even though the video that I put out today was a short one. It was only one of the two videos that I recorded on that very same walk. So tomorrow, you're going to get the longer one. And you'll notice that I'm still wearing my take the rest of the day off and eat meat t-shirt that I wore on my walk today, and you'll see it in my video tomorrow. And I figured I don't wear my own t-shirts enough, and it's probably time for me to design a few new ones. So if you guys think that there might be some slogan that you would like to see me put on a shirt that you think would be more popular than the shirts that I've made already, because to be quite honest, nobody buys many of these shirts. Once in a while, somebody buys one, and I appreciate that, but I would rather have something that people maybe really wanted on their shirt, something to do with carnivore. So give me some ideas. It doesn't cost me anything to design a new shirt and have that Bonfire company put them online, and they have such a wide range of products. They have the sweatshirts and the hoodies and the t-shirts in 5 or 6 different colors. So many choices. So let me know. Let me know if you think, how about bags packed, Mitch? Jonathan, yeah, sure, I'll do that. You can do your own t-shirts, Jonathan. Anyway, I was kind of busy today with that. Comments all day. Some interesting comments. The ones that were kind of interesting or funny or odd I've gotten into the habit of just taking screenshots of them. So on Monday, I'll have plenty. Believe me, by Monday, I've already got enough for Monday now. But by Monday, I'll have some real winners, because it seems that last week's Monday morning show was by far the most popular of any that I've done. And maybe that's because I stopped calling it Old Guy in the Morning. I think people didn't know what that was. And I put that funny warning up on the video and in the title. And that's trial and error here on YouTube, trying to figure out what's going to make people click my video over the 50,000 other videos that are presented to them every time they log into YouTube. I've learned a lot about YouTube. And some of the things I've learned I want to share with you. It won't take long, but I do want to share a few little quirks that I've discovered from my own observations and from watching one or two of the, how do I put it, more knowledgeable guys that have channels talking about the YouTube algorithm, and those that actually have some connection to people inside of YouTube. I learned something today that was very, very interesting and explains a lot. I never realized the extent to which they have changed it over the past year or so. But being subscribed to a channel is almost meaningless anymore. It's almost meaningless to the YouTube algorithm as to whether my videos are going to come up in your feed. Now, closing in on 35,000 subscribers, you'd think that when I released a new video, there'd be all kinds of impressions, thousands, tens of thousands of them in all of these people's feeds that subscribe to me. But have you noticed, and I know that most of you are subscribed to hundreds, if not thousands of different YouTube channels, you never see the channels that you haven't watched in a week or 10 days. If you ignore the videos from a particular channel, whether you're subscribed or not, they stop showing up in your recommendations. In order to see the videos, you have to go to the subscriber tab on whatever device you're watching. And then you will see all the videos from people you're subscribed to, from the newest on backward. But the recommendations tab, just because you're subscribed, doesn't mean I'm going to pop up. If you've ignored me for a week or 10 days, you're going to have to find me again. That's the way they work. And I noticed that about the videos that I watch and all the people that I'm subscribed to. And I'm wondering, why the hell don't I see their videos in my recommended feed anymore? And that's the reason. And it's real. It also explains why I have discovered, just from my own personal experience, that if you want to be a regularly viewed YouTuber, you cannot relax. You can't take, unless you're huge and you have a big following, in which case YouTube will put you out there. But if you're a small to medium-sized channel, which I imagine is where I fall right now, if you're a small to medium-sized channel, you're on a treadmill. You're on a treadmill. You're the guy in the carnival that's spinning the plates on top of the sticks. And you got 7 of them going. And you have to keep run them back and forth constantly to keep them spinning, or they fall down. And that's the way it is with YouTube. I discovered that way back when I said I needed a little time off, and I even missed a day or two and noticed it. It took me a week or two just to get back up to where I was. I got a comment today basically telling me that I make too many videos. Well, they're always telling me what I'm doing wrong. But I've learned that if I'm going to be doing this YouTube, and I want you to keep seeing my videos pop up in your recommended feed, two things have to happen. Number one, I got to make those videos every day, and you got to watch them at least every once in a while, or you'll stop seeing me in your feed. And the way the world is today, out of sight, out of mind, it's sad, but I'm not that special. I'm flattered that you all like me so much, but I'm not deluding myself. I know that you're not going to be calling your lawyer if all of a sudden I stop showing up in your feed. There's 1,000 other carnivore YouTubers out there. So that's just the way it works. Now, I've gotten my production methods down pretty good. I put out 2 videos today. I'm becoming an editing whiz. Now, all of my videos may not be Hollywood productions, believe me, but I'm proud of them, and they may not all be fabulously interesting, and they may not all be epiphany moments for you when you hear some of the stuff I think up. But I hope they're interesting enough that when you see one of them pop up, you'll say, wonder what that old fart's up to today. Let's take a look. And that's what I've learned about YouTube. It's basically, until you get to be huge, it's basically all or nothing at all. And even the big guys in the carnivore space, the big guys, let's not talk about Ken Berry because he's past big guy. He's 3 million subscribers with a huge private community at the point where he almost doesn't need YouTube anymore. But Sean Baker and Anthony Chafee, both with, I think, around 300,000 subscribers, that's almost 10 times what I have, pump out videos constantly. Sean Baker, 5, 6, 7 times every day, shorter videos. That's not my style. I don't have a staff. Both of these guys have staffs. They have people. They have people to read the comments. They have people to answer their emails. They have people to edit their videos. They have people scouring studies and news articles, looking for ideas for these short 4 or 5 minute videos. No one man. And they keep up with social media accounts, which I'm sure some of their people do that too. I'm a one-man band here, my friends. I have no help whatsoever. I have no cameramen, no editors, no script writers, no concept creators, no uploaders, no comment readers. Everything that happens on my channel requires my time and effort to do it. I have a Twitter account and I have an Instagram account. I have no time to even look at those things, let alone start having conversations with people on those platforms. So I'm plodding away, and it's growing, and maybe someday I'll be big enough to have people, and then my people can call their people, and I can take a day off. But I love it. I love it. I'm happier than the proverbial pig in shit. And for those of you who think that I take all of these comments way too seriously. I don't. I don't. I've told you this many times before. I'm trying to entertain you, and I've discovered that you're entertained by me ranting. So I rant. I rant. Inside, I'm laughing. It's my act. I mean it. I mean, I think they're morons, and I think it's stupid, but I'm not going to have a heart attack or a stroke over it, or even raise my blood pressure. So please, I really appreciate when you write me comments to say, Mitch, you need to take it easy. You need to not take it too seriously. You need to let it roll off your back. What I need is things to talk about if I'm going to make a video every day or two, and 3 live streams a week. I have to have these things. I have to turn on the TV in the morning and watch the news. That's where my ideas come from. Just like Sean Baker and the rest of them get their ideas from looking out into the world, observing what's happening, and making commentary on it. And it is important to me. And this stuff, yes, I'm not happy about it. I wish it was different, but I have to do it. And so many people, well-meaning people, good friends, you guys, you need to throw away your TVs, Mitch. You need to stop watching the news. You need to, well, if I just sat around the house all day smoking a cigar and doing nothing, what the hell would I have to talk about? There isn't much really in carnivore to talk about. If you're just talking about carnivore, you get stuff to keep coming up with recipes. It gets tougher to come up with hints and how to do it. There's hundreds of other people out there that I'm beginning to hear them parrot my old videos. I hear people that are making videos and almost word for word parroting what I said 6 months ago on one of my videos. That's okay. That's okay. But it's because there's only so many things to talk about. So I'm just going to keep doing this. You don't need to worry about me. I want you to laugh. The angrier I seem to get, the more I want you rolling on the floor with tears coming out of your eyes. Because that's what I'm trying to do. Believe it or not, I take my comedic cues. I'm not a comedian. Well, maybe I am. I take my comedic cues from 2 different men. And I've already been told that one of them, somebody sees a lot of that in me. And I'm talking about George Carlin. George Carlin was a brilliant man. Had a way of pointing out the absurdities of human beings and our society in a way that was dead serious, and yet he could make you laugh. The other one, if you remember him, was Dennis Miller. Remember Dennis Miller? And that's what he was famous for. He was famous for his rants. And those 2 guys, their attitudes and the way they presented the information and the way they presented the fact that they were incredulous observing what's going on and did it in a humorous manner is kind of the personality I think I've adopted over all those years. So enjoy, if you do enjoy watching me, enjoy what I do. And the more smoke that comes out of my cigar and the louder my voice gets and the more angry and irritated I seem, I get that way because I'm just talking about the stupidity of what we're commenting on. And there's no one of us that's ever going to argue with me that there's not a lot of stupidity out there. Okay, enough said about YouTube. Enough said about the algorithm. You ever notice that the first part of algorithm is Al Gore? Do you ever think about that? Do you think, along with inventing the internet, he invented and named the algorithm? Ponder that. Steve Studley says, where are you? Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else? Grumpy Cat, I see a question in the chat. Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield was my hero. I don't get no respect at all. Rodney Dangerfield. I went to McDonald's yesterday. They told me I didn't deserve a break. I loved the guy. The guy was the funniest comedian I've ever seen. I just loved him. That deadpan humor of his. And if you ever want to have some fun, just type Rodney Dangerfield into YouTube search and go back and watch all the Tonight shows where he and Johnny Carson went at it. Him and Don Rickles. It was fabulous. Fabulous. Mitch, I recently added a comment on a video you did a month ago and you responded, which I appreciated. Do you get a notification when a comment is added? Yeah, those are the notifications I was talking about. That I actually get an email saying that there was a comment left, and I have to actually go back into that video, open it up, and search for it. And I do that whenever I have some time. Sometimes I miss those, and you can only do so much. But actually, usually in the evening, I'll sit down for an hour or so and try to respond or at least read. Now, if somebody just said, I get an email that just somebody said, left a heart, and that was it. I'm not going to go respond or read it. I read it there. I'm going to delete that email and go on to the next one. But if there's a question in there, I'll go find it and answer it if I can. Very, very time consuming. I'll just for right now, let me just show you what I've got. Just so you know, I'm going to go into my into that account with those things. And it says right now, because I did this a little earlier today, I've got 13 new ones already, and here they are. These are the ones that I have that were actually comments left on either threads of somebody else's comment. It'll say, you so-and-so replied to your reply on so-and-so's reply on so-and-so's comment. It'll be maybe four deep. I don't get it in my YouTube comment feed. I get it as an email. And I get 50 to 100 of these every day. And I diligently try to answer it. Because of all the advice I get for how to be a big YouTube star from all of these geniuses that know it all, none of them know anything. The way you get people to be loyal to you is treat them like human beings. Respect the fact that they're taking their time to converse with you, to watch you. Respect them for that. Nothing worse than any business whose attitude is, and there's a lot of them, whose attitude is, wow, this would be a great business if we didn't have to deal with these stupid customers all the time. And there's plenty of businesses that have that attitude. There's plenty of YouTubers that have that attitude as well. I can understand when they get to be huge, but if they're small and they don't do everything they can to interact with their audience, they're missing something, and they're never going to grow. They may get big numbers, but they won't last long. They'll have no following and no depth. Remember, I've only been doing this carnivore YouTube thing for 11 months now. 11 months. That's nothing. That's nothing. And it's grown, in my estimation, it's grown very well. And I appreciate all that. So, Jonathan says, I think a constant live stream really helps. And I'm not really watching the chat too much right now. I just wanted to open up. I have one announcement today, because and it's a little self-serving and it's a shameless plug, and you know already that I need to do that. There was a notification I got from Amazon today. And it said, of course, I get tons of them every day, pointing me to specials that are either early Prime Day deals or just limited time offers. And there was one today that I thought you guys might want to know about. You may not, but I'm going to tell you about it. There are two things I've added to my Amazon links on the website. I'm going to show you what they are. In the T-shirts I wear section, I put this T-shirt. I got 3 people asked me where I got it. One of them said, I bought it right from Amazon. I would have bought it through your link if you had one. So I added it to my little T-shirts where I have links to people's T-shirts that aren't my T-shirts, but the National Sarcastic Society, the one that says meat, the one that says brisketarian, the one that says thousands of innocent plants have died or been murdered by vegetarians. And I added the one that says, I enjoy romantic walks through the meat department. So if you want that shirt, you can go to my Amazon links on oldguycarnivore.com, links to stuff I use page, and you can find that T-shirt there. I got a notice today, this Ninja small basket style air fryer. I thought to myself, I had the Casoris for so long and they worked great. And then I got into these much bigger, much more expensive combination grills and air fryers, but there's nothing wrong with a good basket style air fryer. Amazon has this on sale now for $90. And it's a limited time deal. It's 25% off. So if anybody doesn't have an air fryer, doesn't want one of those big things with all the pieces and attachments, doesn't want to spend close to $200 or $300 when the prices go back up, you might be interested in this one. So the link to this is on my website, oldguycarnivore.com. It says limited time deal. I have no idea how long that's going to last, but now it's $90, which isn't bad because the Casori like this is like $140. So I put that on the website in the under the kitchen small appliances and tools section where I got all these things. So that's just a little announcement I wanted to make. I've been scared you all away with that, so that's good. That's good. Let me take a sip of coffee and then I will attack the chat. If you have a question, put a QQQ, capital, 3 Q's in front of it. I have figured out, I guess I've known it all along, but I never tried it in the chat. I can search for any occurrence of those 3 Q's and go right to them without having to, and you just hit F3 again and it'll take you to the next one. So we tried that on my last live stream on Saturday. It worked great. Worked great. So let's see who's here. Let's see who's here. I'm going to go back up to the top of the chat here, and I'm going to just say hi to people. I'm not going to put you on the screen, just say hi. And we've got, as far up as my chat goes, well, it doesn't go that far, evidently. It doesn't take me back to the beginning, but I've been through Cliff and Juan. Drone Shots, Jody was here, good buddy of mine. How you doing? Jody's saying hi to some of you carnivore people. How about that? Ellen, I read that you had to, do some errands, pick up some meat. We have Kenneth Bates here. How you doing? This Kitty Watches says hello all. CB Carmack is here. Stephen Albeck. How you doing, Stephen? We met Stephen in the private community live stream last week. CB Carmack, him too. How you doing, CB? Good to see you. And another Ellen M. was talking with Scooby, the other Ellen. Nick Sheehan is here, or Sheeson. Nick Sheeson, how you doing? Good to see you. And who else didn't I? Viking Tom from Tampa's here. Viking 442, good to see you. Kenneth Bates says hi. Mitch, Lisa C is here. Naruto Kun, how you doing? I recognize so many of these names. You guys have been around a long time. Lisa C. And Richard Williams from, you should know this by now, Copper Hill, Tennessee. Coco is here. Hi, Coco. How you doing? Good to see you. Steve Studley saying hi to everybody. Jarko Pitkanen, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. If I didn't butcher your name, if I did, I'm sorry. Michael Pregler's here. Michael, how the hell are you? Grumpy Cat is here. Says howdy, Mitch. Oscar Rodriguez, good to see you. Kim, Peixotto. Is it pronounced like a Z? Peixotto? I'll go with that. See how I did. Bobby Goats, how you doing? And Sandra McDonald from Australia, how you doing? Says morning all. I know I'd hit somebody with the morning. John Tacho, how you doing, John? Florida. Kathy, how you doing? Good to see you. Aberbear is here. It's either Hadit or Hadit. Hadit. Says nice. Welcome. Jonathan Bags Packed Family. Good evening from Oregon, Illinois. Never heard of Oregon, Illinois, but you're getting up there, man. You're getting up there. And Jonathan just about to throw some steaks on the grill. Oh, yeah. Rosie Cat Back, almost late, woo. And that was, believe it or not, all of those people that I just said hi to were in before 8 o'clock. And this one where Rosie was at 8:01. That shows you how many people were chatting away before this thing even started. Dizzy Willow's here. How you doing? Jan Foster. Belmont Leone from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Wow. You talk about memories, Belmont. I want to stop and tell you a little story. That's one thing about getting old. You got lots of stories. I got lots of stories. I'm from Philadelphia. Right on the other side of the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge, which back in my day was a 5-cent toll. On the New Jersey side of the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge was the Roger Wilco liquor store, where everybody from Pennsylvania would cross the bridge to buy the liquor in New Jersey because it wasn't taxed as heavily. Legally, you weren't supposed to drive it back across into Pennsylvania, but nobody cared. And back in the early 60s, when like 1963, when I got my driver's license, all of us would go to Cherry Hill because they had a mall. Don't know if it's still standing, but they had the Cherry Hill Mall over there. And this was back in the days when the first malls were just being built. We used to go to the Cherry Hill Mall a lot. And they also had a nightclub in Cherry Hill called the Latin Casino. And my high school senior prom night out was over at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And the headline act the night we went there, and it's like a dinner theater kind of a thing, but the headline act was Jack Jones. Now, none of you, unless you're as old as me or almost, will even know who Jack Jones is. But Jack Jones was a very big and popular singer. Not quite Frank Sinatra, but almost up there with them. Yeah, he was a Vegas kind of guy. I mean, he was a big draw. An opening for him wherever he went, they always found some local unknown comedian to open, and then he would introduce the main act. And the night that we went there, the night that we went for our senior class thing at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the local unknown comic that opened for Jack Jones was Bill Cosby. And he was fresh out of college back then. Nobody knew who the hell he was. We thought when we saw his name on the marquee, they left the R out. We thought it was really supposed to be Bill Crosby. And if any of you have ever heard Cosby's original album, which was entitled Why Is There Air? His entire show that he did was the material from that first album of his. Now I know he's had a checkered past ever since, but he was the funniest human being I had ever seen in my life back then. I can still picture that young Cosby up on stage doing that act. I can still hear his voice. He did the Fat Albert stuff. And we didn't want him to go away. We would have been perfectly happy if Jack Jones never came out and sang, if Cosby had just stood there all night and kept us entertained. And those are the things that come to mind whenever I hear the name. And I hope that wasn't too long a dissertation. When I hear the name Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So that's great, man. Great. Charles Bleacher's here from North Florida. How you doing, Charles? And who else didn't I say hi to? And I'll get over to the chat and we'll start looking for some questions here pretty soon. I lean forward because I'm not wearing my reading glasses. Tamara Forutan, how you doing? Good to see you. Aunt B is here. Hi, Aunt B. Paul Clark is here. Christopher Thompson is here, or was here. Steve Studley, I think I said hi to you. Okay. So we're up to like 5 minutes after 8 now, and I'm going to get over to the regular chat. I'm going to go up to the top of the chat. I'm going to hit whoa, something happened here. Something happened. Somebody contributed something, and that was, we got some. Okay, super. Let me thank you all. Swamp Ninja, little super sticker. I don't know if I can find that on this chat to bring it up onto the screen real fast, but I like to do that, but it's just so much of it. I could just scroll for days. Here we go. Here's the first one of them. Randy K. Randy K is a member for 8 months of the private community. Congratulations, Randy. I don't know if you're here, man, but the computer knows that. Swamp Ninja, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. A super sticker. I don't like to let these things go unacknowledged. And I have one more, and that is from Agent 87, gifted 10. Old guy gifted 10 old guy private community memberships. There it is right there. Thank you so much. So some of you are going to be getting notified that you're now a member of the private community. I think they give you the first month. Agent 87 bought it for you. Thank you so much. And then it's up to you whether you decide you want to stay in. We have a live stream on Thursday night, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a free-for-all. It's kind of like Mitch Unfiltered, if you can picture that, as if I'm not unfiltered enough usually. But we have a great time. Some great people in there. People that I'm proud to say that I consider friends now after the amount of time we've known each other and spent. And in these live streams, there'll be a link, and you can actually come in and get in a window and be a part of it, face to face, get to know other people, get to know me a little bit, whether you want to or not. So thank you, Agent 87. I appreciate that. Very, very nice of you. Now, let me go back here to this window and type F3 and type QQQ and enter. Here we go. Rosie Red, chat friends. She says, put 3QQQ in your post if you have a question. Mitch can now do a shortcut shout out. Yes. So that's the first one. The second one, Grumpy Cat, hi Mitch. I recently added a comment on a video. I saw that one already. You did a month ago. I explained that. The next one, Rosie said, Grumpy, Mitch will catch up with you to answer your QQQ. Rosie, let me get my thumb in the picture. It's working. It's working, yes. So let's go to the next question. How do you get the backgrounds to show up on cam? Is it a special program you use? And that's from Stormy Carnivore. Yes, Stormy. I'll try to make it a brief explanation for you so I don't get too technical. But over here on this monitor, if you look where I'm moving my mouse around, you can see that I have a copy of what's on the screen with me down here in the corner. And that's handled by a software called OBS. Now, you'll also see that if I click this button that says rear view, it changes that to rear view. Okay. And the one that I hit before said left display. I can also go to the center display, and I can go to the right display. I have a be right back screen that I can show, and all this is pre-configured in the computer. I also have these buttons right here. You can see them. And these buttons correspond to those different scenes. So when I press this first button here, I get the face view. The second button gives me the rear view. Third one gives me the left monitor with me down in the corner. And all of these things, and I want to show you down here where you see me moving the mouse around. These things show the name of the scene, and over here I can add all the stuff that I want to show up. So I would put the background, I could put the video of the leaves blowing like this, the video of the leaves blowing through what looks like an open door, the graphic that has the doors and the floor and the window, the old guy thing that's the old guy logo up on the wall that I can make disappear just like that or put it back, the monkey that I can bring in if I want to, and I can move him around, I can move me around, I can set it up and arrange it any way I want. It's fabulous software. The monkey, I can move him to this side of me, I can put him behind me. So we create in the computer exactly the scene that we want, and then I just push buttons and change the scenes, and that's how that's done, as if by magic. And to do that, it takes this. Most guys in the carnivore community do their live streams from a notebook. You don't have it. You need screen real estate to do this and keep track of all that stuff. You don't have enough screen real estate on a notebook. I couldn't do a live stream like this from a notebook. So I hope that answers your question. Next question is, where did it go? Question, Grumpy Mitch will catch your answer. I said, okay. And old guy, remember to use your shortcut. Yes, Rosie, I am. Chat friends, put a 3. Am I going backwards now? No, okay. Hi, Mitch. I recently added a comment. I think I got them all. How do you get the backgrounds? Remember to use your shortcut. That's it. That's all the QQQs. So that's great. That's great. Papa Carnivore, how you doing? DS111. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And you're all chatting away. I also see that Linda G has joined the private community. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you there. We will hopefully see you Thursday night, too. Tina Schweikerath just got here, says, sorry I'm late. And I am Jazzy Jude. It's given me a super chat. Thank you so much. I'm new to this chat thing. Here you go. Here's to you, Mitch. I started Carnivore July 1. Last week, I am starting to feel amazing. That's great. Great, Jude. Is it Jude or Judy? However you pronounce it. But that's great. That's great. You may still have a few rough times ahead. It's to be expected. You know, the first week or two is where I think most of the disillusionment and disappointments actually come in when it comes to the carnivore diet, and I'll explain why. I'll explain why as soon as I can get rid of this. I get rid of it. Oh, I got to get rid of it over here. There we go. Another one, Mark Davis, $10. Thank you. Hi, Mitch. Remember me, who you didn't take for a ride to the store? I remember that you commented that I forgot to take you to the store. Sorry, guy. But thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. I love all you guys. Even the ones of you that give me a hard time, I love you because you give me something to rant about, and that makes great videos. Some of them have been my most popular videos. Who knew? Who knew? This is such an adventure for me, and trying to learn and figure things out. So I was going to say something, and it slipped my mind. It was I was going to tell you that this can happen to you. You can in a week you can feel like your whole life has changed, but there's still a lot of changes that have to happen. And you may have a bad day. You may have a particularly annoying bathroom adventure as your gut bacteria wage protest marches down there in your colon. It's normal. It's normal, and it's where I think most people get disillusioned, give up, the cravings kick in, they start reasoning with themselves. I feel like shit. Why am I giving up all that stuff that makes me feel so good when I eat it? It's devastating. You have to come to terms with that and just realize you got to give it the time. Now, you may never experience any downsides. I didn't. I was lucky. If I had, I might not be here right now. So good for you, Jude. Thanks. That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. And you keep in touch with us and you report in. Even if you email me at oldguycarnivore@gmail.com and tell me how you're doing. I don't want to let you fail. You're off to too good a start. So congratulations to you. Congratulations. I see a question, Mitch. It's from Grumpy Cat. Did you listen to the 24-hour Carnivore live stream. Yes, some little snippets of it. There is no way I could sit and listen to all of it. But I did listen. I did tune in. I saw Chafee. There were so many of them. And of course, I've seen Coach Stephen and Richard Smith so many times, and even with me, there's only so many things that we can possibly say, and before we start replays, and we have to have replays. I learned that early on in this little YouTube adventure, is that about once every 2 weeks you got a whole new class of people. I gain a couple thousand subscribers a month. That means every month. If I get 2,000 views on a video, most of them are probably from people who've never seen me before and haven't watched any of the 335 videos that I have now since 11 months ago. They haven't watched any of them. They don't know any of that stuff. And what they're seeing from me, I assume everybody knows everything I said before. I can't assume that anymore. Like a teacher with a new class in front of them, back to square one in the curriculum. And you notice that. You'll notice that about all of the bigger guys, all of Ken Berry, Anthony Chafee. They're always saying the same thing over and over again. But when they say it, probably more than half of the people listening at any given time, when they give a lecture at a symposium or they record a YouTube video, more than half of the people listening at any given time have never heard it before. And it's important stuff. If I had $10 for every time Anthony Chafee mouthed the words, "plants are trying to kill you," I'd have a lot of money right now. But most of the time when he says that, people look at him and are very entertained when he tells the story of his college professor, where he got that line from. So we have to do that. I don't replay my old videos, but like today, I recorded one of these kitchen tours. It was the third one of them I've done, but I guarantee you most people that saw it today didn't see the previous ones. And we have to do that. There's just only so much that we can talk about. Wow, is this Christmas today? Holy cow. Thank you, man. Mark Davis, thank you so much. It's time to show us the burger press you have in your cabinet, break it out, and make some boogies. Boogies. I will do that. Mark, for you. It's a pretty handy little gadget. I don't use it as much as I thought I would, because I just basically make a meatball with my hand, and I stick it in a pan, and I squish it down. Now, if you want perfect burgers with sharp edges and exactly the same size, it's great. It's great for that. If you have to, for example, if you're going to make and pre-package 30 or 40 pounds of ground beef into burger patties, you get yourself some of these little parchment rounds, and they sell them. They're dirt cheap, but you can buy these. They're made for separating hamburgers, and you get them from Amazon, and you go into production with that thing, and you just start stamping them out. And it makes about an 8-ounce burger, and by screwing the thing down or up, the height of the press, you can make a 1/4-inch thick burger or a 3/4-inch thick burger and decide just how big the burger is going to be. You can put them in packages of 10. You can vacuum seal them if you want, put them in the freezer. They'll be good for a year or more. So yes, I'll try to remember to do that. And it's very generous of you, my friend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, Mark. So that's about all I can say about that 24-hour live stream, because I just watched bits and pieces of it. I've seen all the people that I care to see that appeared on there. I've heard everything they've probably had to say. I may have missed a few new things. Maybe somebody talked about a new test, but I certainly couldn't sit in front of the TV for 24 hours. I would have shot myself. Did you watch it? Grumpy Cat, and tell us in the comments what you thought of it. And we have, oh, I have to lean real, Golf Addict. Hey, how you doing, Golf Addict? Good to see you. Question, I'm finding I am not hungry that much. Almost have to force something down before my golf round. Is this normal? Well, yes. It's a very, 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 very common thing that I hear in comments all the time. God, I'm looking at my replay over in the other monitor, and it's got to be, how far behind is it? Wow, there we go. I caught it up. It was still playing stuff from 20 minutes ago. It's very common, very extremely common. I noticed it. That's why I don't eat my first meal until 11 or 12. And then a lot of times I'm really not even hungry. As soon as I take a couple bites of food, though, my appetite comes back, and I continue and enjoy the hell out of the meal. But if I didn't start eating, I wouldn't have suffered or felt that hungry. If I happen to get too busy get so involved in something I forget, it can be late in the afternoon before I realize, hey, Mitch, you haven't eaten today. I've even skipped days, although I don't intentionally fast. I do intermittent fasting. So I don't know what the answer. I've heard all the other guys basically say it's not dangerous, and when you need food, you'll get hungry. But sometimes I know for me it didn't feel that way. Now, maybe we're still remembering the hunger for sugar and how we would start to starve. How many people have you said, or do you still hear today at 11 o'clock in the morning, they're looking at the clock, counting down the minutes until lunch, because it's been 3 hours, for God's sakes, since they had breakfast. And they're starving to death. I'm starving. I've got to get some food. I've got it. No carnivore ever feels that way. Maybe I'll eat tomorrow. I've said that. I don't feel like eating today. I'll eat tomorrow. Let's fast. You've got plenty of gas in your gas tank. You're not running on sugar anymore. You're running on fat. So that means, if you're not hungry, that things are working like they're supposed to, or it means you're trying to eat based on a schedule that goes by the clock instead of taking the cues from your body when it thinks you need to eat. It's just something that, I don't know how long you've been doing this. Golf Addict. I don't know your personal situation, how much weight you have to lose, what other conditions you may have, whether you've had sugar or diabetes problems or any of that stuff. But all that stuff can factor in, and it all gives inputs to the hormonal regulation that controls whether we're satiated, whether we're hungry, and everything else. So you're not going to starve to death. If you start feeling weak, yeah, eat something, even if you don't think you're hungry. I've always found that the minute I start eating, it kind of fires up the juices and the appetite comes back. It's still lukewarm. Still has a nice flavor to it. I'm using that McCafe, the McDonald's, the K-Cups, then the decaf. I put just a little sprinkle of salt in it, and it really gives it a nice flavor. Sounds like it would be terrible, but it gives it a nice flavor. And let's see if I have any more questions. I hope that answered your question for you. That's about the best I can tell you. Uh, no, we're back up. That was the last one. We're back up at the top of the chat again. So I'll keep looking for any more QQQs. And in the meantime, I will read some of Grumpy Cat. Yes, Mitch, I did watch part of it. I did watch part of it and even asked a question which they responded. It was interesting. We'll probably go back and watch the speakers I missed. That's great. That's great. It's a tremendous thing. And kudos to those guys to sit there for 24 hours. Steve Sudley says, my new pants are now falling off my hips. Sir, I got this thing here. I got this mixer thing. It's got buttons, push buttons. Sounds happen. Gotta love it. I love push buttons, man. Can't have too many buttons to push. Congratulations. Y'all remember Butter Bob? We were talking about him recently, and I'm talking 7 years ago, long before I ever found out about Carnivore. And I, of course, heard about Butter Bob because of his reputation. And he disappeared a long time ago. There's still some controversy of whether he's alive or dead, but he did give up on YouTube. He just got tired of the bullshit. I certainly understand that. And a lot of people may not know where he got the name Butter Bob. His first video, if I'm not mistaken, was entitled, Butter Made My Pants Fall Off. And that, I think, that comment of yours about your pants getting loose reminded me of Butter Bob. Butter made my pants fall off. That was what a great title for a Carnivore video. Especially when nobody knew what Carnivore was. I think that had to be right at the time Sean Baker wrote the book. I think he wrote that book 6 or 7 years ago called The Carnivore Diet. Previously to that, nobody hardly ever used that name, unless you're referring to a wild animal or something. Ellen, Viking, let your body settle in where it wants to. That might be weight gain. Screw your little pants. I see such love here, you guys. I'm telling you. Good to know, Mitch. I won't force myself to eat before golf. We'll just drink a cup of electrolytes before. Yeah, if you're not hungry, unlike sugar burners, people that have lived all their life burning sugar, the advice to carb load before you exercise, before you run a marathon, ride a bike, do any physical activity to get energy is totally bogus and totally unnecessary. Now, if you're a sugar burner, yes, you might need to do that because our body has two ways to store energy. Here comes a lecture, guys. Two ways to store energy. We store it as fat in our fat cells, and we store it as glycogen in our muscles and our liver. Glycogen is stored sugar. Of course, what in our fat cells is stored fat. Most of us have enough fat on our body to live for months, but none of us have any more than 24 hours worth of stored sugar. Sugar is a substitute emergency survival fuel that's designed to be metabolized rapidly and used when the fat isn't available. If everything in your body's working right, you can switch back and forth from sugar burning to fat burning like a hybrid car, like a Prius does. But when you, like so many of us, when we've abused the sugar, we've broken the controlling mechanisms. We become insulin resistant. The insulin can't do its job. So what happens is We become more and more dependent on sugar. Our brain panics when we get low in sugar, even though we may be carrying around 300 pounds of fat on our bodies, which we should be able to burn because our metabolism and our pathways are so screwed up and our insulin levels and hormones are so out of balance. Those fat cells won't let go of that fat. So the minute you start running low on sugar, you're in panic, starving to death mode, which can't happen when you're burning, when you're controlling switch that switches you back and forth between sugar and fat, depending on the situation. When that's all working, and after it's been working for a long enough period of time, your brain finally learns nothing to panic about. If we happen to run a little low on sugar, we'll just burn fat. That's what we're supposed to be burning anyway. In fact, we can live without eating any sugar. We know that as carnivores. The minimum daily requirement for carbohydrates is 0. We have cells in our body, cells in our brain, our red blood cells, certain muscle functions that need glucose, and we have a liver that manufactures glucose through gluconeogenesis. And we can make more than enough glucose to meet all the needs of our body without having to resort to eating 1 gram of sugar ever. And I have not, other than a tiny little bit of carbs that come in eggs and in meat. And it has to come in animal products because the muscle meat has glycogen stored in it. So we're eating that glycogen, a small amount, less than insignificant, not even enough to show up as 1 gram of carbs per serving on the labels. But yeah, I probably may get 3, 4, maybe 5 grams of carbs a day from the meat I eat. It's insignificant. It's essentially 0. And because my metabolism has healed and I no longer panic when my sugar gets low, my insulin never spikes, my sugar never spikes, and my body can take any fuel it needs out of my fat cells at any time, even if I haven't eaten for 3 days. And this is the way it's supposed to be, because when our ancestors went out on a hunt, when they went on a hunt, they didn't always come back with food. Fasting was not just something they did, it was something they had to do. There was no food. Our whole physiology developed to be able to consider those days without food as just run-of-the-mill, ordinary, everyday occurrences, and we came up with the mechanisms to cope with that. In fact, people who fast intentionally today, once they've become fat adapted, as long as they're over the sugar burning crap, will tell you that if anything, their hunger goes away the longer they get into a fast. The sharper their brain becomes. And in a lot of cases, the more energy they have and the more strength they seem to get because they're burning that fat that they have stored in their body. And that was necessary back in the old days. It was something that our ancestors had to do. The hunt failed. They needed to be stronger for the next hunt, faster, quicker, more alert. And if that hunt failed, they had to continue to get stronger and faster. And that's how it works. And people who fast for 3, 4, 5 days will tell you that the further they get into the fast, maybe they might feel a little weird, but they're certainly not dying. They are basically getting in better and better shape to have a better chance to succeed in the hunt and actually be able to get the meat, which is the real food, and the fat for us to eat. And yes, the sugar can hold you over a little, but don't forget, back in those days, most of the time there was no sugar. Fruits were seasonal, a couple, 3 weeks a year. There were some grubby tubers and things growing in the ground that had some carbs in them. Nothing like we have today. We're never more than 100 feet from a metric ton of sugar in our society. Even me, even me, I could get to a Wawa with less than a half-mile walk. And we all know how much sugar is in one of those big convenience stores. So we've screwed ourselves up completely. And we as carnivores are as close after you've been on it for a while. And when I say a while, I'm talking maybe a year, 2 years. I'm just coming up a few weeks shy of 2 years being pure carnivore. And I still am improving, and I still see changes and improvements in the way I feel and in the way a lot of my things that I thought were broken, like my entire digestive system, just keep improving and working better and better. And my thinking is, I think, the clearest it's ever been in my entire life. And at my age, I'm supposed to be drooling in a nursing home by now, according to the average standards. At any rate, I was answering a question there, was talking about sugar. I get off on these things and I go off on a trip and forget where I started sometimes. Good to know, Mitch. I forced myself to eat. Yeah, we were talking to Golf Addict about why he doesn't have to worry about it. You could forget to eat, play 36 holes, and not even eat afterwards, and you'd probably still be okay. It's amazing. It will amaze you as you become fat adapted just exactly how little you will think about, crave, or worry about where your next meal's coming from. It's the most amazing thing in the world. And nobody believes it just hearing about it. The only time I ever really started to believe it was when it started to happen to me. And then today there's still people telling me, you know, the old don't believe your lying eyes. There's people telling me, well, you may think it's happening to you, but it really isn't. You're really killing yourself because your cholesterol's so high and you're getting cancer and you're getting heart disease and all this other stuff. And I go, no, I'm not. I've never felt better in my life. And I know why I feel good. See, just taking somebody's word for it is one thing. But logically, step by step, going through all of the reality and the reasons why this is the way our species needs to live. And in spite of the fact that in the last few hundred years especially, we have screwed the pooch, we can get back to it, and it still works. And it's just a simple matter of whether you're malnourished or not. Food is the most important thing that we do for ourselves, and some exercise, but exercise even pales in comparison compared to nutrition. We are a machine. It needs the right fuel. You can't fill your car with water and expect it to run. I don't care what somebody tells you. It doesn't work. You can't take a gasoline car and fill it with diesel fuel. It's the wrong fuel. If you're going to have diesel fuel in your tank, you better have a diesel engine under the hood that knows what to do with that diesel fuel. If you're going to stuff your face full of plants and landscaping, you better have the machinery that a cow has. You better have multi-chambered stomachs and hind guts and the hind gut like a gorilla has to ferment all of that cellulose that you're eating, to turn it into short-chain fatty acids so that you can live on it. We don't have that machinery anymore. We used to. We have vestigial organs and remains of things we used to have back when our ancestors had them. We have a tailbone, but we have no tail anymore. We evolved out of the need for a tail. We have an appendix where that hindgut used to connect back in the day when we had to be able to deal with these plants and have the bacteria in our guts to ferment these particular types of non-animal food. But after millions of years of adapting to eating meat and animal fat, our mechanisms adapted and changed. We got rid of the stuff we didn't need anymore because all that stuff took energy, which our new big growing brains needed instead. So here we are today with a big enough brain to completely screw ourselves with propaganda and misinformation. Basically, we're so smart, we're outsmarting ourselves. It's time for us to start, looking back and saying, what did the cavemen do? How did the cavemen do this? We're not any different than them. We may think we're different. We may know a lot of shit that they didn't know. But if you opened up a caveman cell, ran a DNA analysis on his DNA from 40,000 years ago, you'd find it was damn near identical to ours. None of that stuff has changed. None of that stuff that controls the basic physiology of the animal has changed. We've adapted to different things as we travel around the world, live in different climates, adapt to different food sources, but our base programming is still the same as it was of that caveman who lived 40,000 years ago. And the closer we get to eating like they did, to mimicking their lifestyle, which wasn't really much of a style at all, but it was the way they lived, the more that we do that, the healthier we were going to be. We're taking care of our machinery like most people take care of their cars if they want them to last. And if you abuse your car and you drive it 100,000 miles and don't change the oil, it's going to blow up on you. Here I go again. Damn. Okay, where was I? I was answering a question. Question, a chicken and a pig walk into a barbecue. Aunt B, come on now. Question, a cow, a chicken, and a pig walk into a barbecue. Grill pick in middle of shirt. The end. Oh, I get you. That's you put down question, but that sounds like you're talking about a T-shirt. An idea for a T-shirt. That'd be funny at the end. Okay. Let's see here. Any more questions? I will try to search again for the cues. Okay, I answered that one. Your best site, David Gates says your best site for carnivore recipes. Well, other than the obvious to me, and I don't really even think my site is the best site for carnivore recipes. I'm almost ashamed to call what I do a recipe. It's just how to take the same 5 foods and throw them together in different ways and cook them in different appliances and hope it comes out great. But they do. I'm fine. I love those things. Here's the problem I have with carnivore recipes. Exactly what are you trying to make? Because most people, when they look for recipes, carnivore or keto, their goal is to try to get as close to and mimic everything about those foods that they've been eating all their life, that they love and don't want to give up. They don't want to give up the pizza. So we know we can eat the meat. We know we can eat the cheese. We got a problem with the tomato sauce, and we definitely got a problem with the crust. So how can we find a recipe for a pizza crust that doesn't suck like a cauliflower crust does? And there's tons of them out there, and they use every kind of ridiculous ingredient from, what the hell's the name of that gum? Forgot it. I never used it. Almond flour and every other kind of thing to try to make a pizza that reminds them of real pizza, which is the worst, the absolute worst idea that any carnivore could ever do. Because in order to really succeed in carnivore, pizza has to become a non-thing. Humans lived without pizza for a long time. There was no such thing. They didn't crave it because they hadn't gotten addicted to it. They also lived without alcohol, cocaine, and a bunch of other things that weren't around, so how could they become addicted to them? And what happens when you try to make versions of the foods, and I've said this so many times, but most of you or a lot of you may not have heard this. What we try to do is make versions of the foods that we don't want to give up and think that because they may be low in carbs, which is impossible for carnivore because carnivore is zero carbs, that it's going to be okay and we can eat them. And I'm living proof, and I'm here to tell you that that shit does not work. Because if you're a carbohydrate addict, you cannot eat just one serving of something that tastes sweet and reminds you of a food that's addictive. And I learned that lesson with Atkins bars. I would buy a box of Atkins bars, promising myself that I was only going to eat one. And that whole box lasted 10 minutes, period. And I got sick from eating all of that crap. Gave me the runs and everything else. You can't do it. You can't stop. You can't be eating things that remind you of the things that you're trying to give up. I don't care if they're low carb or not. Once your brain senses that, once you are exercising that old habit of eating those foods, you will find an excuse, make up a rationale why it's okay to just do this, and we'll get back on it again tomorrow. We've all done it. We all think we're stronger than that, but we're not. So recipes, almost all of the recipe videos that I see on YouTube in the carnivore and keto space are how to make things that I would never, ever again in my life consider letting into my home, especially not putting in my mouth. Anything from the carnivore, mashed potatoes, even the chaffles. I bought chaffle makers, these little one-off little waffle makers, and a big 4-off one. I thought chaffles, when I started keto, were going to be my savior. I thought they were going to be my savior. I can make hamburgers and make it like it's got a bun if I make it out of a chaffle. And the chaffle was only like mozzarella cheese, a little almond flour, and some egg. What could be bad? There's very few carbs in that. This is it. I found it. Eureka. I can do this. Those chaffles will be my crutch. It's great. And I started doing things. I started eating everything on those friggin' chaffles. I made hamburgers. And of course I was keto, so I could put lettuce on them. But no ketchup or nothing else, but at least there was something on there, maybe some pickles, sour pickles. And I would eat them. And I found myself eating more and more of them. And this is where I finally figured it out. I started craving things like sourdough bread. I started imagining how much better this thing that I made that's supposed to resemble a hamburger, how much I missed the way it really tasted and the mouthfeel of that high gluten bread in my mouth. And I started craving, and then I gave in to those cravings. And all that stuff ever did for me was lead me back into failure again and binging, gaining the weight back. And I learned that the hard way over a lifetime. And it dawned on me one day, early on when in being pure carnivore, that I didn't have the cravings. And I said, maybe, I mean, I just kind of theorized it. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I should be staying away from those almost foods. And I did it, and it made it so easy. And I don't even think about any of them anymore. And here's when you know you've made it. When you can say to yourself, you know, for the rest of my life, I will not eat any food that has a sweet taste. Now, you tell that to the average human being, and they will look at you with a look of horror. It'll just kill me now, they'll say. What the hell is life? Why? How could life be worth living without a treat? Without a treat. We are so conditioned and so brainwashed to think of those things as treats and rewards for special occasion. How could you have a birthday without eating birthday cake? How could you have a party without all of these special treats? How can you reward somebody? How can you reward your children without a sweet treat? We've attached concepts and ideas to these things, just like we've attached in our minds the word healthy that you have to append every time you say fruits and vegetables, whole grains. Nobody just says eat fruits and vegetables. They say eat healthy fruits and vegetables and healthy whole grains. We're so conditioned. We are so conditioned to think that way. We are so conditioned to want rewards in the form of sweet-tasting garbage food that's terrible for us. It takes a while to get over that conditioning. And the worst way to do that is to try to make things that look like those treats, taste like those treats, but aren't those treats. Because you can fool yourself, but like that commercial, you can't fool Mother Nature. Your brain knows that you have somehow done a sleight of hand. A sleight of hand. Magician. Now you see it. Now you don't. Because when that sweet taste from that concoction you made with the artificial sweeteners and the visual cues of seeing something that looks like a damn pizza, when that first hits your taste buds and you first smell the aroma and you first see it, many, many, many physiological things start happening in your body. And not the least of which is something called the cephalic phase response. And we've talked about that. If you've never heard of the cephalic phase response, it is your body's advance preparations to make sure it's ready to deal with this shitload of sugar that's about to be fostered on it. And it's triggered by the sight and smell and sweet taste the instant that you sense it. And what happens? The alarm bells go off in your body. Sugar coming, warning, warning, high blood sugar, diabetic coma. Get some damn insulin into this guy's bloodstream fast before the sugar gets here so that doesn't happen. So you taste a little taste of something sweet, you anticipate it in your mind how good it's going to be, how satisfying it's going to be, because that's the way it's always been. What a treat, what a reward. You smell it. Your pancreas just dumps insulin into your bloodstream. Now you got all this insulin in your bloodstream. What's insulin's job? Insulin's job is to throw your body into fat storage mode. Its job is to keep the fat cells from releasing fat back into the bloodstream. Its job is to start cramming sugar into all of your cells to be used as fuel and get it out of the bloodstream. And now you've got a bunch of insulin. And guess what? There's that sleight of hand. There's that sleight of hand. Where the hell is the sugar? We're ready for it. We've just dumped the insulin. The insulin is already screwing things up. It's already way too high in the bloodstream. There's not a lot of blood sugar there. Yet this insulin's cramming all that blood sugar into the cells. What are we going to do if the insulin keeps cramming the sugar into the cells? We're going to die as a hypoglycemic. Our blood sugar is going to crash so low we will die. And this is what happens to diabetics whose pancreases don't work. And what do they have to do to save their lives? When they're running, when they have too much insulin, they've over-injected insulin, they've overdosed it, they over-anticipated, because that's what a diabetic has to do. They have to anticipate the amount of sugar they're going to eat, and they have to take an appropriate amount in an injection first to make sure their body is ready to deal with the sugar when it gets there. Otherwise, they will go into a diabetic coma. What happens when they inject the insulin, just like the cephalic phase response does, and they don't eat enough sugar? Their blood sugar crashes because the insulin is getting rid of it. This is what happens to you when you try to fool Mother Nature and you find yourself starving and weak. You've been there. We've all been there. Starving and weak. You'd kill for a candy bar. The cravings are killing you. You'd eat anything in sight because your life might depend on it. That's hunger. And there's a reason for that. And this is what's going to happen to you when you try to fool yourself with these silly concoctions and recipes. And I know this is a long speech, but it's a very important concept to understand, that if you're a real carb addict, until you give up the things that trigger these responses in you, that eventually are what triggers these monster cravings that you can't fight, you got to keep playing the same game. I did. I played it until I was 75 years old. It's an important concept. I didn't invent this. I learned it. Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. I'm so glad I spent so many years studying physiology and biochemistry and cellular biology and evolutionary biology, genetics. I've spent so much time learning the intricacies of that stuff. And that's why this makes so much sense to me. And that's why I can do this lifestyle with the utmost of confidence, knowing that I'm not hurting myself, that I'm doing exactly the right thing, that my chemistry needs. And I've come up with all of these little things that may seem extreme, but the only recipe you need to know is how to make the meat hot. And I'm trying to find a super chat here that's very, 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 very nice. Mark, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Very generous of you. I got my goodie box today with 2 grease strainers, Redmond Real Salt and LMNT, but my Buzzio water bottle has shipping issues and I need to wait till the 11th. You and me both, before putting in my complaint. Thanks. I wouldn't put in a complaint. I ordered one of those things for myself too, because they lowered the price. I wanted to get a spare one to use as an ice water bottle, because the electrolytes have always got mine kind of taken up. And I'm not getting it till Friday. I mean, I ordered it last week, and I'm not getting it till Friday, but it'll get here. It'll get here. And Amazon's great anyway. So if they screw up, they refund everything. They refund everything. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mark. I really appreciate that, man. Above and beyond. Wow. That calls for a drink. I need a drink. And somebody wrote me a comment today and told me that this stuff's got fluoride in it. I never knew that. That they're going with Topo Chico instead. So let me see if I can read this label. And here's the problem. They print these labels on a patterned paper with lines in the background, like money almost, that make it almost impossible to read the type. I cannot read this in this light. I mean, this is crazy. But they said that it has, they make these things, honest to God, they make them so they're impossible to read. Has 80 milligrams of calcium in it. You know what I do sometimes? I just take my phone, go into the camera app, and use it as a mag. Yeah, this works. Okay, let's see what it says here. Where are the ingredients? Where are the ingredients? I'll do it up here so you can see what I'm doing. That's who it's bottled by. 0 calories per bottle. Oh man, even blown up, it's hard to read on that background. Whenever I see labeling like this, I say to myself, what the hell are they trying to hide? Not a significant source of saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, or total sugars, added sugars, vitamin D, iron, and potassium. So it's not a significant source of anything. It's got 15 milligrams of sodium in it, which is fine. I don't see a thing on here. Ingredients. Carbonated mineral water. That's it. Doesn't say fluoride anywhere on the label. Not saying you don't know something I don't know, because you know how well I trust all these things, but at least it doesn't say fluoride on there. Why would they put fluoride in this? In Italy, they're not concerned about our teeth. At any rate, thank you so much, Mark, for that. And let me see if I got any more QQQs in here. Oh, here we go. Golf Addict again. I assume Ensure drinks are a no-no even if they are 0 sugars, but I see they have carbs in them. I have 8 cases of Ensure Protein Max. Yeah, it's stuff, yeah. Yeah. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's seed oils, some kind of sugar. There has to be sugar. It's got carbs. They got 65 different names for sugar now. Well, even more than that. You know, natural beet juice, cane syrup. I mean, they've come up with so many names for sugar. Sugar. Just about anything, everything is sugar. Everything has got sugar in it. Even if they made that crap with no sugar, with artificial sweeteners, it would still be bad. And then they put vitamins in it. Most of those vitamins are more than likely not even absorbable by the human body. Same way they enrich things, and they enrich breakfast cereals. They do all of this stuff. Just eat the meat. You know, I'm sure other people do too, but I call Ensure basically chocolate-flavored baby formula. And I did a video about that they got us from the cradle to the grave. They start us out with seed oils and sugar, and they finish us off with seed oils and sugar. They charge a lot of money for that crap, both of them. And it's pure crap. It's just pure crap. Eat a steak. Eat a steak. It's just as bad as those energy drinks that they sell. Those things are killers. You may as well just take some speed, you know, some amphetamines, man. You know, there's enough caffeine in those things to kill a horse. And we fall for it. And as long as we fall for it, man, there's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be a drug pusher to sell it to us. Problem we have here is they won't let us find out about this stuff. They've got such a network, a network of defensive tackles out there that stop every message somehow before it manages to get out of the gate and hit the general public's ears. Oh, I could come up with so many political analogies, but I won't. I won't do that. At any rate, I'm not very fond of Ensure. I know Ken Berry's did a bunch of stuff about, talked about it a lot. You may do a YouTube search of Ken Berry Ensure in the YouTube search box and see what you come up with. I'm sure he's made some videos about that as well. And Ann B has a question. Could you please add 2 more T-shirts from the company that had Brisketarian shirt? They would be Feed Me Brisket and Tell Me I'm Pretty, second shirt to follow. I can't add, if you can find those shirts that you want in Amazon and, you know, want me to put a link to them, I can do that. But I can't invent them. I can't tell them what to print on them. Amazon has a print-on-demand service that these people who design these different shirts, and for the life of me, I don't know why, which is crazy, but I went and applied for it, and they turned me down. They wouldn't. Maybe I wasn't big enough at the time I applied. Maybe you have to have the potential to do just like maybe Ken Berry with his PhD shirts, you know, maybe thousands of shirts. I know, you know, my channel wasn't big enough, but they turned me down. And not only did they, and here I am, an Amazon affiliate, selling a bunch of stuff for them. They don't certainly complain about that, but they turned me down for the merch store. They can print my book. They've had my book for 22 years. They don't complain about that, but they turned me down. And then when I wrote them an email and said, when can I reapply? They said, there is no reapplying. You can never. And I said, well, can you explain that to me? And they said, it's our policy not to explain our decisions. And that was the end of that. So I uttered a few 4-letter words in Amazon's direction and just picked myself up and went on with my life. So I have no influence over that. All I can do is create a link, an affiliate link, and I can do that from my browser. If I can find it at Amazon, I can create an affiliate link, and then I can go into my website and program in a box, put the picture in there, the description, and my affiliate link, and then it'll show up under my T-shirt side. So if you would do that for me, that would be great. And I have Mark Booth Sr. has become a YouTube member. Wow, we're going to have a nice crowd on Thursday night. Thank you, man. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go back to the questions. I seem to be able to find them tonight. I'm down to that cow, a chicken, and a pig again. Could you please add a shirt? Okay. Golf Active been 8 days carnivore, wondering how soon I can do a 24-hour fast. Why the hell would you want to do a 24-hour fast? I mean, I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner, but why? I mean, do you think it's going to make you lose weight faster? There's got to be a reason. Let me know. Why do you want to do a 24-hour fast? My advice to anybody starting carnivore is to do the opposite of fast for the first 30 days. It's to stuff your face, eat like a pig till you can't move. Never allow yourself to be hungry. You can't possibly get cravings when you're stuffing your face constantly with meat, bacon, egg, hard-boiled eggs and steak, stuff like that. And that's where people go wrong, is they allow themselves to get hungry and the cravings take over and they're done. And I don't think 1 out of 100 people makes it 30 days. I mean, think about it. I've been doing some interesting little scientific studies on my own. I have been going back to some of my older videos from almost a year ago and looking through the comments and looking at the people who have said, I've been doing carnivore for 5 days. I've been doing carnivore like you for 8 days. I've been doing carnivore for a week. I've been doing carnivore since 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I made note of their YouTube name, and then I did a search through, and I can do this. All the comments on every one of my videos, looking for further comments from these people, and 99 out of 100 of them disappeared, never to be seen again. It didn't work. And I can tell from the members of my private community, there's not a lot of them, 100, maybe 130 or 40 now. I got 100 people in this live stream. 108 people right now. 107. How many are successful carnivores? There aren't a lot of successful carnivores out there. You know how you know when a carnivore is successful? They have a YouTube channel. That seems to be the case. Everybody wants, I'm a carnivore now. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm no different. I at least waited a year. I was a carnivore for a year before I said, well, maybe I might be qualified to actually help somebody. There's people out there who've been carnivores for 2 weeks already making videos. I've been a carnivore for 2 weeks now. Look what happened to me in my first 2 weeks. Look what happened to me. Come on, guys. My advice to you is not to worry about a fast. You don't ever have to fast. Fasting is torture as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people like it. They talk about autophagy. They talk about all this stuff. All that stuff is things that cavemen did not think about. For the first 30 days, forget about weight. Forget about weight loss. Act like you're trying to gain weight. It's fun. Eat whenever you're hungry, I keep telling people. If you're not hungry, don't eat. But the minute you get a craving, the minute your mouth starts to water and you're thinking of pizza or something like that, immediately have stuff cooked, have hamburger patties already pre-cooked, bacon pre-cooked, hard-boiled eggs pre-cooked, some hard cheese maybe if you want to, and go start eating. And I say don't eat a snack. We're not talking about a snack. When I say eat, I mean eat until you're satisfied again. Just keep eating until you can't stand the thought of putting another bite of food in your mouth. Stay just on this side of nauseous from eating too much. One thing I can almost guarantee you is you won't get any cravings. And after 30 days of this, you have taken a 90% bite out of your cravings. And after 30 days of this, interestingly, most people who do this get on the scale and find out they lost 4 or 5 pounds, even with eating 6,000 calories a day. Because you're eating meat. You're eating the right kind of food. Your body knows what to do with it. It's using it all. You're straightening out your metabolic pathways. Your body is relearning how to burn fat. Your hormone levels are starting to normalize. You're not getting those wild insulin spikes and blood sugar spikes. But it takes time because it took how many years to screw it up? And then at the end of the 30 days, you start to settle into what you think might be the way you're going to do this from now on odds are you're going to be modifying it quite a bit as you settle in. But you decide whether you're going to do intermittent fasting. You're going to eat time restricted. You're going to eat in a 8-hour window, a 6-hour window. You're going to do OMAD, one meal a day, which I think most people can't comfortably do. I tried it and I can't. I just can't eat that much, enough food at one sitting. It's just too much food. I need too much food. Now, my too much food now is nothing compared to what I used to eat when I ate the standard American diet, but I eat 2 pounds of food average a day. I eat half a pound of bacon, maybe a half a dozen eggs, a pound of beef or fish, a couple of pounds of food, but I can't eat all that at one sitting. So I broke it up into 2, 3 or 4 hours apart. I'll have my first meal around 11 or noon, and then 3 or 4 in the afternoon I'll have my second meal, and then I won't eat. I haven't eaten since 4 o'clock this afternoon. Took my last bite at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I had me a New York strip steak covered in butter. And I'll eat again tomorrow, 11, 12 o'clock. And I won't even be hungry really hungry by then. I'll be at that stage. You know how you get to that stage where somebody says, "You hungry?" And you go, I could eat. I could eat. As opposed to, I can't eat another bite. As if, when you just get done pigging out. So when you get to the point you say, I can eat, and you've settled in after months and months on this and figured out how things work, and starting to really get the benefits from it, you fine-tune it. I found that for me, fine-tuning meant moving my eating window earlier. Instead of like 2 and 6, I ended up moving it back to 10 to 11. And then 3 or 4 hours afterwards. And I found that any earlier than that was too early. I just did not want to eat that early. And it works out great. And it also lets me have a real vacation from eating, a real vacation from mid to late afternoon until I go to bed. So I never go to bed with a full stomach like I used to when I was snacking like crazy in front of the TV till 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. Wow, it's almost 10 o'clock, guys. Holy cow. Time, I have so much fun on these things. Let me look at the chat here a little bit. I hope that answered your question. I wouldn't worry about it. If you want to fast, you can fast, but I think that, and it depends on you. Maybe you're not that much of a carb addict. Maybe you could fast. I don't know anything about you. I see you're in a private community. Have you? I come into the chat and we'll talk about it on Thursday. The monks and the monsters are making the boot. Okay, you guys are talking Steve Studley. I agree, golf addicts, you can fast at any time, very healthy for you. Steve is telling you to fast. I'm telling you, think twice about it until you've been at this for 30 days. Brenda agrees with me. That's why we have discussions. And I don't have all the answers either because we're all different. I can only tell you what worked for me. Our cat is eating my... What? Okay. This is great. This is great, guys. 16. I began experimenting with dry fasting. 60 to 20 hours is pretty easy. Yes, it is. I think I got all the QQQs out of here. Let me see if I find any more. Are you going to add people to the green room? It's nice. Stormy says, not on this live stream. No, not tonight. It's too late for that. I do that on Thursdays in the private group. Sometimes I do it if we don't get, if there aren't too many people and too many questions for me to answer. And I kind of take it as it comes. But if you guys want me to do more of that, I will. Let me know. Next question. I assume insured drinks are... Okay, so I've already been there. T-shirts. Okay, I think I got all the QQQs now. So guys, it is 5 minutes to 10. I've been live for 2 hours and 5 seconds now, considering my 5-minute pre-show. And I think that's going to do it. And I so appreciate all the support from you guys tonight. And thank you again for the super chats and the memberships. I'm looking forward to Thursday night. We're going to have a lot of new members. I hope you all show up. It's free for all. We have a lot of fun. Still got 109 people watching. Great. Let me get some music going here. Let's see. I think this is the one. There it is. I don't want to blow your brains out with it. Okay. I like that. That's officially become my exit music. So, for me and all of my people here, my entire staff, you're looking at them. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks so much. I always feel so good after I do one of these things. Makes me feel a little less of a loner, and for that I appreciate all of you. So look out for my video tomorrow. I did that kitchen video today. Tomorrow is going to be kind of another one of those philosophical talks. I hope you enjoy it. The last one of those that I did, walking around, really got a lot of comments and a lot of traction. The one where I talked about the real things that you got to accept, the real changes, if you remember that talk, that you need to accept in your entire life and your lifestyle if you want to succeed at Carnivore. And maybe you should know about those in advance. Tomorrow's video is another extension of that same theme because I think it's important. And I think it might help a lot of people who don't make it actually stand a chance. And I think that's very, very important. An important message to get out, which everybody else isn't getting out. And while they're telling you how to make carnivore pizza crust, I feel that I can do more good with messages like that. A lot of people, they don't want to hear that stuff. They want to just, they want recipes and gadgets. So everybody watches my videos, the ones that they like. I try to have a little something for everybody. After that, we're going to talk about gadgets and food and the practical part. And there's two different parts to this. There's a practical part. There's a how to do it, how to execute it. And those are the shopping things, the cooking things. And then there's the reasons why and the psychological battle that changing your life so drastically in our world entails, and becoming an outcast and somebody who everybody else thinks has just lost their mind. So look out for that video tomorrow afternoon, and I will see you Thursday night, private community guys. The rest of you, I have a live stream for everybody on Saturday at 3 p.m. Last week was great. We had great attendance, even more than we had tonight. I enjoyed that. I'll be back on Saturday. With that, my friends, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.